That was the best game of my career. And then I gave a quote after the game because I had so much respect for playing in Lincoln, playing at Nebraska, which is my favorite away stadium to play because of the atmosphere. And y'all took my quote and put it in a hype video.
No. Welcome to Kenny's Corner. Appreciate you guys joining us. Today we have Darien Harris with us. Really appreciate you joining us, brother. It's been a while since I've seen you, let alone get to speak with you. Jumping right into it, piggybacking off that 2015 Ohio State game, you guys held that offense to, I believe it was like 130 yards total. That's incredible. First of all, congratulations, incredible players on that, man. Braxton Miller, Zeke, JT Barrett, like the list goes on. So congratulations on that 5 years later. But what was the week like leading up to that? I know you had just discussed it, but the prep that week, everything leading up, I believe you guys were 9-1, had just dropped one in Lincoln. We won't jump into that. But the Buckeyes were 10-0. It was a huge game. Connor Cook had just gotten hurt against Maryland. And I know, miss me with the, it was just another game and it was Big Ten football in November, because I know that's the standard answer. What was it like really leading up to that, heading to the horseshoe without your starting QB, knowing, we win this thing, we're punching our ticket to Indianapolis?
No doubt, man. It was extremely intense week of practice, and you don't got to worry about me missing with you that. I'm going to miss you with that because I don't believe in that at all. I mean, I know that the cliche is every game is the same and they all kind of won, but we know that's not the case, especially playing in the Big Ten. It's just that's not how it goes. That was the biggest game, probably up to that point that I've been a part of in my life, and they had gotten us the year before also. So we struggled in that, we didn't necessarily struggle in the game the year before, but Zeke went off on us the year before. JT had probably his best game ever. Michael Thomas went crazy, and it was at home for us. So we actually had a lead in that game and kind of gave it up. And, ultimately, of course, they went on to win a national title that year, but we felt like we should have had that game. We should have won that game. So there was a little bit of revenge on our mind also. And then it's just belief, man, at the end of the day. We believed that we belonged on the field with them, and not just belonged out there, that we could excel and do some great things out there, which we were able to do. So it was a lot of film study, of course, during the week. The thing about it is we knew them and they knew us. So there wasn't a lot of different things that we were going to do. There wasn't a lot of different things they were going to do. It was just going to be mano a mano. You got to beat your man in front of you at the end of the day, kind of like football is. And again, that's the beauty of the Big Ten, and get an opportunity to play a game like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. You said it really well. You said, they knew us and we knew them. I feel like that was a lot of the cultures in the Big Ten. Big time schools know each other like that. Jumping into, Sparty football culture, I think it'd be almost unanimous. You asked across from the time that we played, who were the guys you didn't, I don't want to say didn't like, because I liked y'all. I respected you. Yeah. But, I mean, you guys played with chips on your shoulder. You played in people's faces. And it got chippy anytime you guys were on the in between the lines, right? I mean, I think back to when I first played you guys in 2011, when guys like Will Golston, Trey Waynes, Darquez Denard, who else? The Bullos are always there. Those guys were always bullies. Was that something that was spoke about amongst your guys' culture while D'Antonio was there, or was that just kind of how you guys rolled?
I think it was both. I mean, I think it was the culture that was built. And not just from the era that we were there with Coach D, but long before that. I mean, the Spartan Dog kind of mantra started well before any of us got there. That was a thing from the 80s, back when Coach Barnett was playing and then winning Rose Bowls in the 80s with Andre Rison and all of those guys, Courtney Hawkins. And it's of course, great to have those guys back on staff. But they kind of started that, sort of attitude, and it just transcended eras. So it was a necessity. When you get there, you got to understand that that's the type of ball we play here. It's either get with it or get lost. You got to be able to buy into that system. It's not always about X's and O's. It's about, can you go out there and dominate the man in front of you? Play on a control, on the verge of a rage is what we used to say. Play with a controlled range. Coach Barnett always says, let the other guy out when you step on the field. So we always had that in the back of our heads, in the back of our minds, and it starts in practice. And you remember those days, a lot of live periods in practice, which I'm sure some schools and coaches would be like, you all are going live that much. But yeah, I mean, it was every day, live, tackle to the ground, a lot of reps live. And it actually developed us to be able to go out there in the game and execute.
Right. No, that great answer. And transitioning from that now with the new staff, with Coach Tucker and everyone that he's brought in, I don't know if, how much you've known about Coach Tucker, but he was just at CU, but he's coming from Georgia. Phenomenal defensive mind, really hard-nosed coach that cares a lot about the defensive side. Can you tell me about how you believe that staff and what you are doing up there in East Lansing now is going to translate with that culture? Because I think you guys got one heck of a head football coach.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's going to be great. And I mean, the beauty of bringing Coach Tucker here and staying close to the program was I was able to join staff for the first time, for my first year this year. So just to be back around the program has been great. But just to be around this new coaching staff and see how they work day in, day out, it's just going to continue as it was in terms of that culture, of that hard-nosed attitude in football. And you nailed it right on the head. We understand where Coach Tucker comes from, his background, his mentality. It's the same thing. He played at Wisconsin, so he understands Big Ten ball. He's coached all over the place. He had great success in the league, also coaching. He's respected across the country at every level. And he's not here to coach any soft brand of football. It's still going to be that same type of mentality that you're used to with Michigan State. And although, season's postponed right now, we're definitely preparing for whenever they say we can blow the whistle and kick it off. And I can't wait for that first hit.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to watch you guys, what you guys produce this year. I was working with Coach Tucker at Colorado last year, and I know all those guys that came up there. Ross Ailes was my linebackers coach while I was in school. Dalman Gibson, Corday Hankton. Actually, Ted Gilmore was the reason I went to Nebraska.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So
no doubt.
When it's time to kick this thing off, man, I really am cheering for you guys. I'm excited to see what you guys produce this year. I think you guys got something special. A shot at you talking about how you guys had just dropped one in Lincoln with the most legitimate college football catch of the year.
Yeah, something like that. But the funniest thing about that game besides that, it was the best game of my career, and that's what's so frustrating about that.
You had one heck of a game.
That was the best game of my career. And then I gave a quote after the game because I had so much respect for playing in Lincoln, playing at Nebraska, which is my favorite away stadium to play because of the atmosphere. And y'all took my quote and put it in a hype video.
No.
I'm giving y'all credit for being a great road game, but I also, had 13 tackles, 3 TFLs, and some other. I played well. I wasn't saying that it deterred me from playing well. I was just giving y'all props for took my quote and tossed into a video, man. It's like, dang.
Hey, they're wrong for that one. I gotta apologize on behalf of Nebraska fans there. That's not right. But as you said that, we appreciate that because Lincoln is a special place, and I say that obvious from a biased place, that being my home stadium. But it was a special place, and I was going to ask you, it being your favorite, where would you say the toughest was? I know the Horseshoe gets a lot of hype, and you're, bred in the Big Ten, and as far as Big Ten, big Big Ten football games go. Where would you say is the most difficult to play?
Yeah, I honestly lean towards Lincoln just because of the 400+ straight sellouts. How you all as fans approach every game, and I just think that's for us because. Of course, we take every game seriously, but when you think about playing the big house or the shoe, it's just something different about those games. And we go in with this mindset that we got to get those, we got to have those. And then Nebraska, it's different. It's already a different kind of brand of football coming from the South and the Big 12 and getting in great shape in the Big 10 and that certain amount of tradition there. And playing a night game, a night road game in Lincoln, it was an unbelievable experience, of course. But it was definitely real tough to play there for sure. I was able to play there a couple times, 1 in 13, lost in 15. But both experiences were like, okay, like this is college football, and that's the beauty again of the Big Ten. Whether you're in Lincoln, whether you're of course here at Spartan Stadium, whether you're at College Station, or State College out in Penn State, you're going to get great atmospheres everywhere.
Yeah, that you made a great point. Obviously. When you head into those huge games, like, the mecca of college football, and you head to the Horseshoe or the Big House, right? There's kind of a mindset that you're going in there to beat Michigan or Ohio State, so the crowd, the atmosphere doesn't necessarily get some guys. I think you made a good point where you go into a game where it's not that you don't have any respect for the opponent, but you're not expecting the atmosphere to be quite like it is. That's a good point. That happened to me in 2011 when we went to Wyoming. Smaller place, but the fans just brought it, and it was a great atmosphere. And you made a great point. And that's what makes college football so special, and that's what makes so many of the Big Ten stadiums so special. But thank you again, Darien, for joining me, brother. I really appreciate it, and
yes, sir,
best
man.
of luck to you all this year.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.